On the news tonight, Governor Sheriff Oborevwori affirms administration's commitment to prudence and transparency in the management of public resources. Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission begins the silting of blocked drainages and major waterways across mandate areas. Federal government opens special Central Bank of Nigeria account for retiring civil servants. Abroad, global oil prices fall as United States and Iran announce agreement to end hostilities. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on Delta Television News tonight. My name is Onome Iyarowe. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to prudence, accountability, and transparency in the management of public resources. Governor Oborevwori made the affirmation while receiving a delegation from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMFAC, as the commission commenced its nationwide data verification exercise in the state. Ejime Udweme reports.
Governor Oborevwori said his administration had continued to invest heavily in critical sectors such as healthcare, education, and other social infrastructure across the state, stressing that the projects were visible and open for verification. He assured the Commission of the state's full cooperation, noting that all relevant ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as the 25 local government councils, had been adequately briefed ahead of the exercise. Governor Oborevwori urged the team to physically inspect projects and facilities rather than rely solely on documents presented to them. He also added that Delta State, as a major contributor to the nation's revenue, expected a fair and objective assessment based on verifiable records and existing infrastructure.
We view this exercise as an important opportunity to further strengthen collaboration between the Commission and the state government. We are not taking it for granted. We remain conscious of the need for prudence, accountability, and transparency in the management of public resources. As government, we have massively invested in hospitals, schools, and other social infrastructures, which has varied the indices of the state significantly. And we are very happy for this exercise. And as government, we will continue to give the support that is needed.
Earlier, the team leader, Honorable Mohammed Usman, said the delegation was in Delta State to formally launch the nationwide data verification exercise aimed at updating and validating data used in revenue allocation among states and local governments. He explained that the exercise was in line with the Commission's constitutional mandate to continuously review the revenue allocation formula to reflect changing socio-economic realities across the country. Honorable Usman noted that population dynamics, infrastructure, development, and emerging developmental challenges made it necessary to periodically verify the data underpinning revenue allocation indices. He said the verification team would work closely with ministries, departments, agencies, and other government authorities to ensure credible data collection that accurately reflects realities on ground. Honorable Usman stressed that the outcome of the exercise would have significant implications for both the Federation and individual states, noting that accurate and comprehensive data could positively impact future allocations.
The success of this exercise depends largely on the cooperation and support of the state government. Hence, the Commission respectfully secured assistance in providing access to relevant data and records, designating competent liaison officers to work with the team, facilitating access to local government areas, ensuring a conducive environment for the exercise.
He commended Governor Sheriff Oborevwori for what he described as remarkable achievements in infrastructure and urban renewal across the state. Ejime Uduime reporting.
The Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, the SOPADEC, has commenced the desilting of blocked drainages, canals, and major waterways across its mandate areas, beginning with Uwe local government area, as part of efforts to reduce flooding during the rainy season. The exercise began last Friday at the Water Resources Canal along Efron Sapele Road and water resources or water channels on Jakpa Road by Akka Avenue in Efron, with drainage experts engaged to clear blocked waterways and ensure free flow of water. The chairman of the DESOPADEC board, Olorogun John Nani, who conducted an unscheduled inspection of the ongoing desilting exercise in Ughelli, headquarters of Ughelli North local government area, said Governor Sheriff Oborewori had directed the commission to immediately begin clearing canals, drainages, and waterways across its mandate areas to minimize flooding and protect lives and property. He appealed to residents of the area to support the intervention by avoiding the indiscriminate dumping of refuse into drains and water channels, stressing that such actions contributed to blockages and heightened flood risk during the rains. The state government has reaffirmed its commitment to peaceful conflict resolution, urging parties involved in land-related disputes to embrace dialogue and due process rather than actions that could threaten public peace and order. The special advisor to the state governor on peace building and conflict resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, made a call during a meeting with members of the cooperative society who complained of alleged encroachment on their land and the demolition of some structures following the road expansion activities in the area. Henry Unogwa reports.
So,
Chief Uzo explained that the meeting was convened following petitions and complaints submitted by stakeholders of the cooperative society through the Office of the Accountant General, alleging that a real estate development company, Cubana Estate, had encroached on their land and demolished some structures. He emphasized the need for dialogue, restraint, and adherence to due process in resolving the dispute amicably. The special advisor urged the affected persons to provide all relevant documents relating to the purchase and ownership of the land, while also requesting the contact details of the other party in the dispute to enable the Peace Building and Conflict Resolution Office establish communication and facilitate discussions.
In respect of a complaint brought in by cooperative society under Accountant General's office over land that they acquired long ago. Now that the road expansion by Cubana Estate has demolished their properties. So that's the agitation. So we've asked them to get documents to the effect to show that they are the owner of the land and where did they buy from, so that we can take it off from there.
He stressed that a fair hearing for all parties remained essential to achieving a lasting and peaceful resolution of the dispute. Earlier, the affected landowners, through their legal representative, narrated their ordeal and appealed for the prompt intervention of the state government. They pledged to maintain peace and cooperate with all efforts aimed at resolving the matter amicably.
I'm not opposed to the development. At the same time, we don't want, I want my clients also to be protected. So we're looking for a way to solve it. If either she's relocated to a better place or she's compensated for the development because she has lost money. As I said, they've owned this project for over 10 years before this whole destruction came. So we're just looking for a way to solve it amicably. And I believe it's always better to go the arbitration way than to go the litigation way.
Henry Onogwa reporting.
The federal government has commenced the mass trial of suspected terrorists at the Federal High Court, Abuja, over alleged terrorism-related offenses. The trial, which was previously conducted in Kenji, Niger State, was moved to the Abuja division of the court. The proceedings, expected to last 4 days, are being conducted simultaneously in several courtrooms before different judges, and the trial forms part of efforts by the federal government to prosecute individuals accused of terrorism-related offenses. Further details of the cases are expected to emerge as the hearings continue. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to combating terrorism, saying the administration would continue to prosecute suspects or suspected terrorists to ensure the safety of Nigerians. Mr. Fagbemi stated this in Abuja at the commencement of a new phase of terrorism trials involving hundreds of suspects facing terrorism-related charges. He said the ongoing proceedings reflected the government's determination to tackle terrorism and other threats to national security, noting that the latest exercise marked the fourth phase of terrorism trials since the inception of the current administration. According to him, terrorism in any form would not be tolerated, adding that the government would deploy every available resource to make Nigeria safe for all citizens. Mr. Fagbemi disclosed that more than 600 suspects would be tried during the current phase, explaining that about 490 suspects were scheduled for trial on Monday, while 84 others would appear before the courts tomorrow, in addition to 102 cases carried over the previous phase. He expressed confidence that the judges handling the cases would expedite the trials as part of efforts to strengthen national security and address insecurity across the country. The Defense Headquarters has vowed to bring justice to those responsible for abduction and death of a retired Major General Rabi Abubakar, a former Director of Defense Information. Major General Abubakar died while in captivity after he and his wife were abducted on May 30 along the Katsina-Matazu Road while traveling to their hometown in Katsina State. Reacting to the incident, the Chief Administration Officer at Defense Headquarters, Major General I.M. Abdullahi, assured that security agencies are working to identify and apprehend those behind the crime. He described the late officer as a distinguished military professional whose service, dedication, and sacrifice to the nation would never be forgotten. Major General Abdullahi said the death of the retired officer is a painful loss not only to his family and Katsina State, but also to the armed forces of Nigeria and the country as a whole. The Defense Headquarters further reiterated its commitment to ensuring that those responsible are tracked down and made to face the full weight of the law. President of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Archbishop Daniel Oko, has called on President Bola Tinubu, state governors, and security agencies to take urgent steps to address rising insecurity across the country. Speaking during the observance of Black Sunday yesterday, Archbishop Oko said thousands of Nigerians are being killed, displaced, or kidnapped by terrorists, bandits, and other criminal elements. He stressed that insecurity had continued to threaten national unity, economic growth, and social stability, pointing out that protecting lives and property remained the primary responsibility of government. The CAN president commended the House of Representatives for passing the Community and State Policing Bill and urged the Senate to expedite action on the legislation, while calling on Christians to continue praying for peace in the country. The federal government has opened a dedicated Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) account for the payment of the Exit Benefit Scheme for retiring civil servants to be managed by the National Pension Commission (PENCOM). Under the scheme, which took effect from January 1, eligible workers in Treasury-funded ministries, departments, and agencies (MDAs) with at least 10 years of service will receive a lump sum equivalent to their annual emoluments upon retirement or disengagement. Funded through annual budgetary allocations, The scheme requires pension fund administrators to pay beneficiaries within 10 working days of receiving funds. The arrangement also covers workers who retired between January and September 2026 and next of kin of eligible deceased employees. The Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, ACPN, Delta State Chapter, has conducted a free medical outreach for members of the Asaba Council of Chiefs as part of activities ahead of its annual summit scheduled to hold in Asaba with the theme The Strategic Pharmacist, Navigating Politics from Local Practice to Global Impact. The report.
The outreach featured basic health checks, medical consultations, and pharmaceutical care services aimed at promoting preventive health care and strengthening community engagement ahead of the summit. Chairman of the Planning Committee, Mrs. Adora Ugu, said the initiative was designed to give back to the community while creating awareness on the expanding role of pharmacists in healthcare delivery and policy influence. Secretary of the committee, Mr. Gregson Idibofu, added that the program reflected the association's commitment to accessible healthcare and professional visibility.
And the reason why we are in this palace is that the palace and the royal father, the Asaba, and the cabinets that are so much interested in substance use and drug abuse. As in, it has not been long. The building, the rehabilitation center he built was commissioned. So in order to partner with him, that is why we are here. My advice to the youth and people of Asaba, both youths and old people, is that when you want to get your medicine, want to get your medication, go to a registered pharmacy.
We thought that we need to give back. So this is us giving to the palace, in the expectation that the palace also will also be present in our summits, so we can have a better collaboration.
Participants from the Asaba Council of Chiefs commended the pharmacists for bringing healthcare services closer to the grassroots and acknowledged the association's sustained contribution to community well-being.
I want to commend the organizers of this particular medical outreach. It's been very rewarding. Community Medical Association.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a very nice thing. It's good if they continue to do it because many people are sick. They don't have where to take medical treatment. I've just done my own and the drugs have been given to me.
The ACPN Delta chapter also announced additional summit activities, including school outreaches and career talks to expose students to opportunities in health and pharmaceutical professions, while the summit is expected to bring together pharmacists, healthcare stakeholders, and policymakers to discuss the future of community pharmacy practice in Nigeria. Henry Usiayu reporting.
The State Commissioner for Finance, Sir Fidelis Tilije, has reiterated the commitment of the Governor Sheriff Oborevori's administration to accountability, transparency, and prudent management of public resources. Sir Tilije stated this in Asaba during the flag-off of the 2026 nationwide data verification exercise of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, ROMFAC. Ejime Odweme completes the report.
Representing the Delta State government at the event, the Commissioner for Finance, Sir Fidelis Tilije, assured the team of the state's cooperation throughout the exercise, stressing that the administration remains dedicated to ensuring that public funds are effectively utilized for the benefit of residents.
This exercise is both timely and significant as it seeks to strengthen the principles of equity, fairness, and physical balance in the allocation of national resources. Delta State appreciates the critical role of the Commission in promoting physical federation and federalism and ensuring the revenue allocation reflects prevailing realities across the country.
In his remarks, the team leader, Honorable Mohammed Usman, said the verification exercise was aimed at ensuring that funds allocated to states and local government areas are properly utilized. He noted that the exercise would also provide accurate data needed for determining the revenue allocation formula among states. Honorable Usman, alongside the Federal Commissioner representing Delta State in the commission, Mr. Martins Egwawena, commended Governor Oborevwori for the numerous developmental projects being executed across the state. They described the projects as evidence of the judicious use of public funds in line with the Commission's mandate.
We have had the projects, massive projects that the governor is undergoing in the state. The specialist hospitals, the roads, the schools, bridges, and so on and so forth. That is the essence of the Federation account and allocation. Give money to the federating unit, let them use that money to improve the quality and welfare of their people. That is just exactly what your governor is doing here. We are very glad.
Stakeholders at the event, including local government chairmen, commissioners, and permanent secretaries, described the exercise as timely and necessary.
This exercise today, as it is very timely.
They noted that it would enable the Commission to gather relevant data and indices required for revenue allocation and express optimism that Delta State could benefit from improved allocation due to its significant contribution to the nation's economy. Ejime Uduime reporting.
Christians have been encouraged to pursue excellence and remain committed to achieving success through godly principles. The lead pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Triumphant Parish, Okpanam, Pastor Victor Imodi, gave the charge while officiating at the Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba weekly prayer meeting. Sams Okojite reports.
In his message captioned "The Spirit of Excellence," drawn from the book of Daniel chapter 6 verse 3, Pastor Emodi said the biblical prophet Daniel distinguished himself among his peers because of the excellent spirit he possessed. He identified key principles for attaining excellence to include total submission to the will of God, discipline, integrity, and the cultivation of a productive and positive mindset. The cleric warned against narrow-mindedness, fear, and treachery, noting that such attitudes limited growth and achievement, even as he tasked staff of the station to strive for excellence in their various duties and responsibilities.
That anytime we talk about excellence, it is not just an act, it is not a disposition. In this context, we're talking about spirit responsible for excellence. And we said that excellence connotes highest standard of doing things. Excellence connotes highest standard of maintaining things. And we say that this is achievable. It's achievable.
The prayer meeting featured intersections for the station, the state, and the nation at large. Sams Okojite reporting.
You're watching the Delta Television main news. Still to come, global oil prices fall as United States and Iran announce agreement to end hostilities. Details in a moment. Stay tuned.
We have a governor who is managing the resources of the state very, very prudently. When we said that governance will not cease because we are in what you may call pre-election year, you could see that the governor is walking the talk. He's looking ahead by delivering projects that touches the life of the people. We are doing this supervision and tour of these projects because the governor had made it clear that if you fall short of the provisions in the Bill of Engineering Measurement and Evaluation, we will blacklist you. And we are seeing much more quality work coming in. We're also seeing greater speed.
Glad to have you back to the Delta Television main news. And now from the foreign scene, global oil prices have dropped sharply while stock markets recorded gains after the United States and Iran announced a framework agreement aimed at ending months of hostilities between both countries. United States President Donald Trump said the agreement would pave the way for the reopening of the strategic Strait of Hormuz shipping route, a major channel for global oil and gas exports. Brent crude, the international benchmark for oil prices, fell by more than 5% to about $82 per barrel, while stock markets, particularly across Asia, responded positively to the development. Pakistan, which has been mediating talks between Washington and Tehran, disclosed that an official signing ceremony for the agreement is scheduled to take place in Switzerland on Friday. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Garibabadi also confirmed that both countries had finalized the deal, while President Trump took to social media to declare, quote, "Let the oil flow." However, energy experts have cautioned that uncertainty remains due to limited details about the agreement. Market experts say the lack of clarity would trigger further volatility in global oil prices in the coming days. The Strait of Hormuz has remained largely closed since military strikes by the United States and Israel on Iran earlier this year, disrupting a route through which nearly 20% of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas supplies normally. France and the United Kingdom have welcomed the agreement reached between the United States and Iran, describing it as a major step towards peace and stability in the Middle East. French President Emmanuel Macron called for the rapid implementation of the agreement, expressing hope that it will lead to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and support wider peace and security discussions in the region. President Macron also stressed the need for negotiations to address concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic programs, while reaffirming France's support for Lebanon's sovereignty and stability. The British Prime Minister, Mr. Keir Starmer, described the pact as a significant breakthrough and urged full compliance by all parties. reiterating that Iran must never acquire nuclear weapons and called for guaranteed freedom of navigation through the Hormuz Strait. At least 11 people have been killed following a fresh wave of Russian missile and drone attacks across Ukraine, with one of Kiev's most historic religious landmarks severely damaged in the assault. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said 4 people died in the attacks on the capital, Kiev, while 5 emergency responders were killed while battling a fire triggered by a strike in the northeastern city of Kharkiv. The attacks also left more than 50 people injured and knocked out electricity supply to over 140,000 residents in Kiev. A major casualty of the bombardment was the 11th century Domitian Cathedral, a key part of the Kiev Peshek Lavra complex, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. President Zelensky described the destruction as one of the biggest crimes against Christian culture in recent times, although Russia has denied targeting the historic cathedral. Meanwhile, Russian officials say a Ukrainian drone attack on the city of Tula killed 3 people and injured 3 others, including a 1-year-old child. Authorities say most parts of Ukraine remained under air raid alerts as rescue operations and damaged assessments continue. And on the home scene, prices of tomatoes have continued to rise, worsening the cost of living for many households. A market survey in major cities showed that tomato prices have risen sharply in recent weeks, with traders attributing the development to seasonal scarcity, post-harvest losses, and high transportation costs from farming communities. A large basket of tomatoes that previously sold for between 85 and 90,000 naira now sells for between 150,000 naira and 170,000 naira. The increase has forced sellers to adjust prices, while many consumers are buying less due to shrinking incomes and rising food costs. Citizens have called on the federal government to support measures that will boost tomato production and improve supply. The naira remained relatively stable against the United States dollar at the official Nigerian foreign exchange market, NFEM, opening the new trading week at 1,360 naira 83 kobo to the dollar. Reports show the local currency has continued to trade within the 1,360 naira range in recent days, supported by ongoing reforms and improved foreign exchange supply. Market watchers have attributed the stability to sustained liquidity, greater transparency in the unified foreign exchange market, and continued monitoring by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. And our sports. The FIFA World Cup delivered another exciting round of matches yesterday, with African teams, Ivory Coast and Tunisia, featuring in contrasting fortunes on the global stage. The biggest highlight for Africa came from the Ivory Coast national football team, who continued their impressive tournament run with a hard-fought 1-0 victory over the Ecuador national football team. The Elephants showed discipline and resilience throughout their encounter, holding firm defensively before striking at a crucial moment to secure all 3 points. The result further boosts Ivory Coast's confidence as they aim to progress deep into the competition. In contrast, it was a difficult outing for the Tunisian national football team, who suffered a heavy 5-1 defeat against a dominant Sweden national football team. In other results, Germany delivered the biggest win of the day, crushing Korea 7-0 in a ruthless attacking display. Netherlands and Japan played out an entertaining 2-2 draw in a match full of end-to-end action. Australia defeated Turkey 2-0, showing defensive discipline and efficiency in front of goal. That's our news. Next is the thought for the day. Every sunrise is a reminder that you have another chance to be better. To end Delta Television news, here are the highlights. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to prudence, accountability, and transparency in the management of public resources. Governor Oborevwori made the affirmation while receiving a delegation from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, ROMFAC, as the commission commenced its nationwide data verification exercise in the state. The Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, the SOPADEC, has commenced the desilting of blocked drainages, canals, and major waterways across its mandate areas, beginning with Uwia local government area as part of efforts to reduce flooding during the rainy season. The federal government has opened a dedicated Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) account for the payment of the Exit Benefit Scheme for retiring civil servants, to be managed by the National Pension Commission, PENCOM. Global oil prices have dropped sharply, while stock markets recorded gains after the United States and Iran announced framework agreements aimed at ending months of hostilities between both countries. That ends Delta Television Main News. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the news editor and the production team, Onome Iyaro here, urging you to follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website at www.tbsasaba.com. Good night.